It's a gorgeous day here at Sandstone Eco Zoo. The sun is shining, our animals are settling in, and the gift shops have been fixed. So we'll be heading indoors to create SEZ's very own souvenir shop today. Let's do it. Welcome, thanks for joining me again on the channel. As you can see, I have fixed the recording resolution issues. We're back to 1920 by 1080, and you can see the entirety of the menus in Planet Zoo, yay! Which is perfect for this episode, especially because we'll be exploring all of the new shelving options and props for the new souvenir shop mechanic, which was broken for a while but is now officially patched up. I was having such a hard time holding off on adding a gift shop. I really wanted to play with it, but I definitely wasn't willing to potentially sacrifice so many hours of work just to have a corrupted save file, so patience was definitely the best choice. As soon as the souvenir shops were announced with the 1.16 update, I knew this was the perfect spot for one. I had prepped this wing of the building for a gift shop anyway, and it actually worked out super well because the initial footprint for the shop is 2x3 tiles or 8 meters by 12 meters. And that just so happened to be right in the middle of this long wall. But that's only the minimum size of the gift shop. You can make it larger by adding these expansion tiles. So I threw a bunch more of those down, and that just means that any shop items you place on those tiles, the guests will interact with. What I for some reason didn't realize is that paths won't go over, which completely makes sense with the mechanics of the game. So the gift shop will be just a slight bit smaller later on to allow guests to reach the viewing dome entrance to the left, and so the staff can get to the Quokka backstage area. Another big plan I had for the space from the very beginning was a big window at the back, which takes away valuable retail space, but will give guests a glimpse into the kangaroo and wallaby habitat. And it will also allow guests on the other side to peer into the gift shop and maybe convince them that, yes, you should definitely check out what's in here, hopefully be swayed into buying something, supporting the zoo, and so on. So it's a trade-off, but I think it works. One of my favorite pieces from the latest update is this glass door. This is the first transparent door that we have in game. It feels like such a staple piece already. Thinking about it right now, it's very difficult for me to think of a commercial place I've been to in the last year that didn't have at least one glass door. And this building is going to have two sets because the entrance to the souvenir shop unfortunately can't be moved and needs to be right here. But I imagine this more so as the exit right next to the cash register, and the entrance being on the angled portion with the horizontal wood. Basically the first thing guests see on their way when they enter the zoo. So it's inviting them to shop, or at least making its presence known right when they arrive, and also as they exit from the kangaroo and wallaby walkthrough. Transferred those glass doors to the front portion of the building. We don't have too many size options with the horizontal wood planks, so I ended up adding glass to the sides, which worked out super well because that allows for display windows, which further drives the point of, hey, come check me out when guests look over here. Used lots of marquee beams and also the conservation blinds to outline that and give it some dimensionality. Did the same thing with the window up here. I want more natural light inside, and I have a light fixture in mind for this space, so it would be cool to see a glimpse of it through this window. And finally, we're going to get started on the interior, starting with these fitting rooms by the amazing Shiftsy, just tucked into the corner here next to the cash registers. But here's our first look at the new souvenir shop shelves. There is quite a variety. We're going to start with this statement wall. I'm so glad I built this building at a 45-degree angle. It makes it so easy to line everything with the angle snaps. Gonna throw up some hooks and shelves, lots of space for t-shirts, mugs, hats, the regular stuff you might find at a gift shop. And also the stuff that's new to the game, so we want to highlight that with this build. Some cabinets underneath for extra storage items. When I worked retail, I stocked shelves a lot of the time, and we'd usually have extra items hidden in those cupboards to make restocking super quick. Still took much too long because all of the labels had to be rotated out, but hey, at least the displays looked pretty. By the window, I'm going to place these lower shelves so the view isn't obstructed by merchandise. Higher shelves on either side though, to bring that verticality in and frame the window nicely. Maybe a little kids' corner at the back here, somewhere far from the doors so kids walk through the entire gift shop and maybe convince their parents to buy them something. That's how marketing gets you. And then filling the shelves is made super easy with these drop-down menus, just clicking on the shelving unit and selecting what I'd like to display. It's nice too that it randomizes the items, and I believe that if you fill it before duplicating it, the game will still do that for you, so it's not an exact copy and paste. But in the interest of keeping things interesting, and also because of my vision for this gift shop, I still pulled in plenty of workshop items and items from the construction tab. such as these stuffed animals, because as with TNS, I wanted animals that you can find in this zoo, which unfortunately the new Souvenir stuffed animals are not. I did add the new frog later though, seeing as frogs can be found in Australia, just maybe not that specific one. It's all for the vision. Over in the corner, these beautiful items by Ricey. They stand up so well, even to the new puzzle boxes. Seriously, great job. I have a bit of a surprise for you concerning this frog character later, so make sure to stick around. This other massive wall between the doors I'm going to fill up with an assortment of items, the new totes for example, but also other things that I thought might work in this Australian gift shop. These are African decorative strips, but whatever, still a design I thought worked. Some plates, I'm imagining both of these items to be decorative. And some leis. These came with the Oceania pack and I thought this might be a fun addition. We'll see more of these all around the shop. And one item I absolutely love are these Indian lights. They look like those massive water bottles that are really great for hiking. The lights just keep turning on when I go to edit the group, so there's that annoyance, but I'm willing to put up with it. Also added totes and t-shirts to the front for that inviting display. The center was still looking bare though, so I made a round display with the tall shelves, and then I decided I wanted bins, which didn't come with the Souvenir shop. So I rotated these shelves, combined them to create these slots from the top, almost like something you'd find in a record store with just a bunch of albums stacked inside. And this was so I could place these awesome road signs from the Australia pack, make them look slightly picked through with a few small rotations. And also added some beach balls because why not? They seemed fun to have in a gift shop. Another display I wanted to have was soap. Why is it that every gift shop I've been to has some sort of locally made soap? Usually partnered with a small local vendor, they have fun names for the scents. We obviously don't have soap in the game, so I use these switches and then a bracket piece to imply a sticker or tag on it. And then here we've got a random assortment of items, but is it really that random? It's actually quite intentional, a little bit of almost everything from elsewhere around the store. So if there was something you were looking at and weren't quite decided on, but then when you're at the register, you're suddenly like, you know what? Yeah, I do actually want that thing. Bam, it's right there behind you. Don't need to walk around the store to find it. On this massive back wall that's currently very bare, we're going to add some waves to give a backdrop for our surfboards. Not a super big display, but some surfboards, decorative oars, maybe a fun sign. Something big that draws the eye over here. Use some of the vent and hinge pieces to create a backboard that looks nice and secure. I see these at ski and snowboard shops all the time. Also, the blue background isn't only perfect for waves. Blue is actually a very commonly used color in marketing and logo design because of the calm, trustworthy feeling it evokes. Seriously, you never really think about it until you study it, but how many logos have you seen that are blue, and how many of them have to do with banking, lawyers, or car brands? Probably quite a few, and that's because they want you to trust them, with your money especially, but also a feeling that your money is secure. And that's the psychology behind the color blue as used in marketing. Very interesting stuff. We also need to make sure things are nicely lit so people continue shopping even when it's darker out. So this bulkhead at the top of the wall not only gives it some dimensionality, it's also a great place to hide some pot lights. Pot lights are also incredibly energy efficient with LEDs in them, so that aligns with SEZ's green practices. I did end up adding some spotlights on the larger merchandise just to change things up a bit, but again, depending on the light bulb, lights in today's world can be very energy efficient. In the daytime, once more, we're going to fix up this side of the shop so that staff can get to the backstage area and guests can get to the viewing dome entrance. Not too big of a deal, just going to fill in the gaps with some custom flooring. I considered these plaster tiles, but I just didn't love the look of it. I ended up using the default horizontal wood. I think it works fine, it feels Australian. The walls are largely made of other materials, so it doesn't feel like a big horizontal wood box. And then I slapped down an Australia map to make it even more interesting. Now for the logo and branding of the store, I could have made some custom graphics, but I really wanted to use this tiki mask. Haven't used these before, they're from the Oceania DLC, and something about it was so fun and inviting, like a character that's trying to sell you its wares. Its trinkets, all of these little bits and things that you can take home as a treasure from your visit to the zoo. So the gift shop is called Trinket, but because I wanted this character to really come to life, it does have an apostrophe S. It's not just the trinkets that you're bringing home, it's Trinket's gift shop, like it belongs to this character. Anyway, slap down those letters around the edge of the circle, offset it a few times to give the letters a nice dark border, and then that was added to the front of the shop. The interior is almost complete, decided to make good use of the Australia planks to create beams. Gives it a slight surfer vibe, uses a few more recycled materials which we love at SEZ. And then some cables with lighting to get the center of the room since the pot lights weren't doing much for these displays. Really simple lights, just the LED sign base and a conservation solar light on the end. And the last big thing for this space was this shelf above the door, which looked so bare until I decided to build this long trailing plant using the tetrastigma vines. We do have the ivy and Spanish moss, but that's more of a hanging plant. I wanted this to trail along the ledge, the same way the pothos or Hoya plant trails over the curtain rod in the kitchen at your grandmother's house. And we really don't have many plants that are considered houseplants in-game. We do have the Swiss cheese plant and a few small palms, but that's about it. So this vine was rotated this way and that to create this trailing feeling. Now let's really fill up these walls, shall we? A signage display to help guests see what they could be buying, more plants to fill up that overhang, these pallets for a great statement wall and reminder that yes, we are using reclaimed wood, and metal too to provide a better backdrop over here, a hanging beaded banner to section off the two parts of the gift shop a bit, a roof of course, with some patching up near this angled portion because we want a bright, open, and airy space in the center, and our statement light fixture. Created a circle of these conservation bulbs first, and then shifted down to create a spiral effect. Some final details for ventilation, and then, get in losers, we're going shopping. Trinkets is basically the first thing you see when you walk into Sandstone Eco Zoo, which means it is perfectly positioned to make a profit. We have our first displays with the pallets in the background, some reclaimed wood. And here we get our first look at the main display with our gorgeous lighting fixture above us. We do also have some custom signage, buy one, get one free for our beach balls. And then to the left we have staff area, dome viewing entrance with some more plants up there, as well as a display of the posters that you can potentially buy in the gift shop. Here we have our trailing plant, gorgeous display up there. And then we have more things, all of the beautiful things that you can buy from this gift shop. If you like pina coladas and getting caught in the rain, you should probably buy one of these umbrellas. And we have our eco soap display created locally. Lots of fun names for this one. Just beachy, qualified clean, so on. Limited edition sandstone soap. Over here, I imagine these leaves to be carved by some sort of local artist, some sort of reclaimed wood as well. And then of course we have our stuffies, our plush animal display. And here is our frog character, that surprise I was talking about. He is now the mascot for our Kids' Corner. I just copied that off of Ricey's boxes off of the workshop. Everybody's Gone Surfing. 15% of each purchase of this surfing gear goes directly to Little Penguin Conservation. So really trying to tie that in with some of the animals in the zoo. And then it's time for us to check out. So make a list, see what you bought out of our gift shop. All of these amazing things that you could have potentially bought. And then we're gonna head out past our custom built security gates. Over on this massive wall, this will eventually be a big billboard featuring all of the animals that can be found in SEZ. But for now, that is the gift shop. So I will see you next time. Bye.